Overview. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, written by Robert Kiyosaki, was first published in 1997 and quickly gained popularity among those interested in money, investing, and the global economy. It has been translated into numerous languages, sold globally, and has achieved the status of the top personal finance book ever. The central idea of Rich Dad, Poor Dad is to demonstrate how money can be utilized as a means to create wealth. It dispels the misconception that being rich is an innate quality, clarifies why your personal residence may not necessarily be an asset, illustrates the genuine difference between assets and liabilities, and offers many other valuable insights. Structure. Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad book provides 6 lessons that he learned from his rich dad about making money and avoiding the mistakes of his poor dad. The book also identifies 5 obstacles to overcome to become and stay rich, and outlines 10 steps to develop financial intelligence. In addition, the book offers actionable to-do steps that readers can implement right away. The book comprises 10 chapters and an introduction, but most of the emphasis is on the first 6 lessons. This review will summarize the introduction and the first 6 chapters, and cover the remaining 4 chapters later. Introduction. Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, was influenced by 2 significant father figures in his life. One of them was his biological father, referred to as Poor Dad, who was highly intelligent and well-educated. Poor Dad believed in obtaining good grades through diligent studying and finding a well-paying job. However, despite his academic achievements, Poor Dad struggled financially. The other father figure was Rich Dad, who was the father of Kiyosaki's best friend. Rich Dad shared a similar work ethic as Poor Dad but added a crucial element: financial education. Rich Dad emphasized learning about how money works and how to make it work for oneself. Although he dropped out of school in 8th grade, Rich Dad became a millionaire by effectively using money to his advantage. In Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Kiyosaki shares his perspective on how Rich Dad made money and the mistakes that Poor Dad made. The book is divided into 10 chapters, with the first 6 comprising the majority of the content. These initial chapters explore the 6 lessons Kiyosaki learned from Rich Dad about making money. Chapter 1, The Rich Don't Work for Money. Chapter 1 of Rich Dad, Poor Dad is titled The Rich Don't Work for Money, which is often misunderstood. Many people mistakenly think that it means that the rich don't work at all, but the opposite is true. When Kiyosaki says, "the rich don't work for money," he means that the rich don't work solely to earn a paycheck. Instead, they work to learn how to make money work for them. They understand how to put their money to work and make it grow. In contrast, most people in the middle class and poor work hard to earn a living, but their money doesn't work for them. Kiyosaki emphasizes that having a regular job is a short-term solution to the long-term challenge of creating wealth and financial freedom. He suggests that fear motivates most people to stay in their jobs, such as fear of not paying their bills, fear of being fired, fear of not having enough money, and fear of starting over. Kiyosaki argues that people become slaves to money when they work for it, and they often feel frustrated with their boss or employer. Chapter 2, Why Teach Financial Literacy? In Chapter 2 of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Kiyosaki explains the distinction between an asset and a liability, emphasizing that the goal is not just to make money, but to keep it. According to Kiyosaki, assets are valuable items that generate income or appreciate in value, while liabilities are expenses that reduce your income. This sparked controversy when the book was first published, as Kiyosaki argued that a personal residence is not an asset unless it appreciates enough to offset the costs of ownership. Instead, he suggests that income-producing assets such as rental properties should be the focus of investment. Kiyosaki advises readers to prioritize buying assets and keeping liabilities and expenses low in order to increase their wealth. Chapter 3, Mind Your Own Business. In Chapter 3 of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Kiyosaki highlights 2 important messages. The first one is to prioritize paying off debts and investing in income-producing assets as early as possible. The second message is to focus on maintaining financial health by investing more of your money in assets and spending time instead of solely relying on a paycheck. Kiyosaki argues that many people mistake their profession for their own business, and they end up spending their whole life working for others and helping them become wealthy. He also notes that most people who are financially conservative lack a solid financial foundation, and hence, they tend to stick to their jobs and avoid taking risks. Kiyosaki's favorite quote in this chapter summarizes this point succinctly. Chapter 4, The History of Taxes and the Power of Corporations. Chapter 4 discusses how to play the investment game smartly and highlights how the rich understand the power of company structures and the tax code. Kiyosaki advises that it is important to use every legal means possible to minimize tax burdens. The chapter emphasizes that there are tax advantages associated with owning a corporation, such as being able to pay expenses before paying taxes. On the other hand, employees get taxed first and then pay their expenses. In addition, corporations provide legal protection from lawsuits. Kiyosaki emphasizes that understanding the legal and tax advantages can significantly contribute to building long-term wealth. The chapter also covers the four main components of what Kiyosaki calls financial IQ: accounting, investment strategy, market law, and law. Chapter 5, The Rich Invent Money. Rich Dad Poor Dad's Chapter 5 delves into the two types of investors: those who buy investment packages and those who are professional investors. The former entrusts their funds to developers or fund managers, which is the common way most people invest, like purchasing shares in an ETF or investing in real estate through crowdfunding. The latter, however, are professional investors who take care of their own investments, research the market for deals, and hire experts for daily management. Professional investors share three common characteristics: they identify opportunities others have missed, they raise funds for investments, and they collaborate with other astute individuals. Chapter 6, Work to Learn, Don't Work for Money. In Chapter 6 of Rich Dad Poor Dad, Kiyosaki highlights the importance of working to learn rather than working for money. While Poor Dad worked for money and prioritized job security, Rich Dad focused on learning to become a millionaire. Kiyosaki advises young people to choose a profession based on the skills they want to acquire and not just the money they can earn. He himself joined the Marines and gained valuable business skills in leading and managing people. Later, he worked at Xerox, became a top salesperson, and eventually started his own business. Chapter 6 goes on to discuss the essential management skills necessary for success in business, including cash flow management, systems management, and people management. Chapter 7, Overcoming Obstacles. Chapter 7 of Rich Dad Poor Dad starts by highlighting how fear is managed to distinguish rich people from poor people. In this context, fear is related to the fear of losing money and how to deal with it. Fear, cynicism, laziness, bad habits, and arrogance are the 5 main barriers that individuals encounter on the way to financial independence, and failure to overcome these obstacles often results in unsuccessful asset generation. Losing money is a part of investing, and wealthy individuals have experienced losses. In contrast, people who have never invested anything often have never lost anything. Fear disguised as caution can paralyze real estate investors. Cynicism can lead to self-doubt, immobilization, and missed opportunities. Being busy doesn't equate to accomplishment. Successful real estate investors prioritize taking care of themselves and their finances. The habit of paying oneself first helps people become more financially and mentally resilient, and motivates them to look for additional sources of income. Arrogance can lead to overconfidence and, ultimately, financial loss. Educating oneself or consulting an expert in the field is critical in overcoming ignorance. Filtering negative people and their fears out of one's life is necessary for achieving financial success, and focusing on the big picture is essential. Chapter 8, Getting Started. Chapter 8 of Rich Dad Poor Dad emphasizes that most people are not trained to see the opportunities that are present all around them. This is because they have been conditioned from an early age to work hard for someone else, spend their earnings, and borrow money when necessary. However, those who develop their financial intelligence are able to spot opportunities for investment in real estate that others miss. To become financially intelligent, Kiyosaki recommends following 10 steps. 1. Have a clear emotional purpose for your actions, including what you want and don't want. 2. Understand the power of choice and make informed decisions, develop good habits, and educate yourself. 3. Choose your associates carefully and avoid negative influences. 4. Learn quickly and develop a formula for making money. 5. Pay yourself first by managing your cash flow, relationships, and personal time with self-discipline. 6. Build a team of excellent people and reward them generously. 7. Focus on the return of investment first and then on the return on investment. 8. Use assets to create more wealth, and use self-discipline to direct money to the right places. 9. Find a role model and learn from their success. 10. Understand that you must give to get what you want. Chapter 9. Looking for more ways to put the book's lessons into practice? In the final section of Chapter 9 in Rich Dad Poor Dad, Kiyosaki provides a checklist of actionable steps you can start taking right away. 1. Take a break from what you're currently doing to assess what's working and what's not. 2. Explore new and unique topics to find fresh ideas and perspectives. 3. Find a mentor who has already achieved what you're striving for and pick their brain over lunch. 4. Keep learning by taking classes, attending seminars, and reading. 5. Make numerous offers, with escape clauses, because persistence pays off. 6. Spend 10 minutes a month for the next year looking for changes in an area you're interested in and searching for bargains. 7. Look for real estate deals when the market corrects, as this is when profits are made. 8. Invest in your education to learn how, when, and where to buy. 9. Think big to increase your chances of success. 10. Look beyond what you can currently afford, and find ways to buy a bigger pie and then sell it off in pieces. 11. Negotiate volume discounts by pooling resources and buying in bulk. 12. Study history to learn from past mistakes and successes. 13. Remember, taking action is always better than doing nothing at all.